less humorous way.
Alright. So. Oh no! Alright. So. Let's see. Okay. So. The way that your houses work, your ascendant is Gemini. So. Your first house is ruled by Gemini. After that, it goes in sequential order because if you look up at the sky, that's where the rest of the map goes, right? Okay. So this is your center. You're looking up the rest of it. Your second house is Cancer. Great place to have it. Good job. Cancer. Ooh, Jesus, why? You stay put. Sick of your shit. Alright. So let's even just start there. So your first house is your house of self. Your first house is ruled by Gemini. So your house of self, how you see the world, how you interpret the world is curiosity. It's charm. You get along very well on who you present yourself as. You can make yourself very shiny. You can make yourself very prince in waiting, right? Like you're going to the ball, but you're not who the ball is for necessarily, right? You are the second prince. You're prepared for anything.
You're
right?
hairy.
You're hairy. You're a little hairy.
But you get the hot one.
They're both beautiful.
I know, but Megan's fucking hot in American.
All of them. Whatever.
And a calligraphy.
Cancer. So your second house, your house of home, but like your familial relationships, right? Like what's built around you is in Cancer. And you have Jupiter in Cancer. This means that you benefit from not just your immediate family, which is possible but not absolutely necessary. It's more about you benefit from your heritage. You may be able to find like scholarships based on your 1/3 Luxembourgian or something. You know what I mean? Like I would look into that. You are able to, with your second house in Cancer, with Jupiter in Cancer, you have multiple places that you can call home. Obviously. But you are comfortable in a lot of places. That doesn't mean that you don't have somewhere that like your heart belongs, but you have a lot of interests going on. That's your first house in Gemini. Your third house, your house of communication, is in Leo. You don't have any planets there, but your house of communication in the sign of creativity and sex, of performance, of performative emotion, is until you say it out loud, nobody really knows what you're feeling until you make it blatantly clear. You're not afraid to ask questions. Like, you're the one that goes to the bar to do whatever work you need to do at the bar, for example, tonight. And you can show up like, hey, I'm waiting for Bob, whatever. Like, that's not weird to you, where other people would be like a little more cool, Your fourth house is in Virgo, so the house that you build around you, your castle, right, in Virgo is calculated. You know what belongs in house A versus house B. There are things that get compartmentalized. It's not necessarily that you put people on a shelf, but they can feel that way. They feel like you have a space for them, and they can't really leave that pedestal. Your 5th house is in Libra. So where I said your performative emotions are in your 3rd house, your 5th house of creativity and sex is in the sign of relationships. Hooray! Good for you. Get it on. That's great. Good job. This is someone who is a very giving lover. Someone who loves women. And like the shape of whatever that body is. It's not necessarily like it has to be one thing of beauty. Like women are beautiful, the end for you. Or bodies are beautiful, the end for you, right? Scorpio, 6th house. You like body stuff. You like to know what's in there and what's gooey and radiology and massage and all of that. Pluto rules, like I said, sex, birth, death, and rebirth, and like bones and surgery and the removal of something, like digging into your heart to remove a tumor, or any kind of like deep digging, like Virgo is a doctor, Scorpio is a surgeon, if that makes sense, like that analogy.
Okay.
You go deeper, and that has a lot to do with like your learning, but also how you help people and your career and what people have to say about you, right? Your 7th house is Sagittarius, and your moon is in your 7th house. Your 7th house is relationships. Tumultuous, totally. But you come to different understandings than other people come to, and that's fine. I think I said this to you before, where like you wouldn't be with someone who would be monogamous, so you would never cheat on them. You know what I mean? Like there are, just an example, but like you're on a greater, different level. Like some people are on capitalism, you're in communism. Like there's like a next step thing for you that's like beyond, like this would be a sin in Catholicism, but it's not a sin in Satanism, or like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Okay. But so your moon there, you can be very forceful about the things you want in that moment. What you need is like Sagittarius can be fire Pisces, in that like there is a lot of sudden deep emotion that's coming from like God knows where, but it's been crackling for a while. It's just that the fire was white and you could see through it, you know? Now we get to your 8th house, which is in Capricorn, and you do have a stellium there, but they're all outer planets. You have Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So Saturn actually rules Capricorn, and that's where you want it to be, and you are in your Capricorn return right now. So you actually have friends in your hard work, right? But the thing that kills you also makes you stronger, right? The thing that like, oh, I have to give this thing up, but that means I have all of this previous knowledge and now I can do this thing. There's a lot of career changes throughout your life, but they're all enhancing one another, right? Uranus in Capricorn, so like you have, because you're connecting different synapses that not everybody connects, you're able to come up with ideas and research and be able to connect different things that other people wouldn't necessarily make sense of. That also added with your Neptune in Capricorn, you see drugs as a tool. They help you. Like, as much fun as they are, there is something that provokes you about them and moves you forward. Your 9th house in Aquarius, sometimes you say things very matter-of-factly. You don't know why people get mad. Sometimes people get mad a lot. Pisces in the 10th house. So 10th house is like career but legacy, but like like retirement even almost. Like, what is it that you leave behind? What is part of the past? That is also part of your future, right? Like, your stamp on things. And your 10th house is in Pisces, which is experimental, right? You are willing to like check a door both ways to see if it's really locked, right? Like there's some sneakiness to it, but it's a totally non-judgmental sneakiness, right? This can get you in trouble because your Mars has to do with a little bit with publicity too, and so that can indicate some scandal, but it's only scandalous if you believe that you were doing anything wrong. Don't. Your 11th house, your friendships, hopes, and wishes, is in Aries, and you have Venus in Aries. Women are very important to you in your life. Your connection to femininity and the way that women treat you benefits you in your life, your literal life. Like whatever abundance means to you that's not necessarily dollars, but like bringing other people into your life, bringing events into your life. Your strongest memories have to do with women and strong women, which also means that you're kind of here to protect those strong women, right? Finally, your 12th house is your house of undoing. And your 12th house is in Taurus. My 12th house is also in Taurus. Sometimes, like, there was a time when I was much bigger than this. There was a time when I was much smaller than this. We can fluctuate wildly when it comes to food and drink because it means so much to us. It's the last thing, right? It's the last thing that we think about. Like our personal nourishment because we're so curious, right? But you have both the Sun and Mercury in your 12th house. So the way that you present and the way that you communicate is subdued. But your Sun in Taurus and your Mercury in Taurus means that your communication style is slow and steady anyway. You won't act upon something until you know it is a certain thing. But you can make sure it's a certain thing with your first house in Gemini and all of your chart. And that covers your whole chart. We did it!
I say somebody who like has seen you from a more non-biased perspective. That's pretty, you know,